Today on Judge Faith, a tenant claims an unlawful eviction turned her life upside down and cost her thousands of dollars. Now she's taking her landlord to court, seeking compensation for the losses she says never should have happened.
Sent me a message saying I had 72 hours to get my things out of the house because there was a breach of contract because I had dogs he didn't know.
But the landlord tells a very different story. He claims the tenant has a pattern of deceptive behavior and has misled other property owners in the past.
I don't even know what she's talking about, Your Honor.
Well, it's
she's
on the
talking
text
about
messages.
24 hours, 72 hours. I don't know nothing about that.
Now Judge Faith puts an end to this housing hustle.
So your associate sends out this lease with the wrong information, and your associate has your phone and is sending out text messages that you may or may not be aware of.
Yes, right.
Oh, got it.
Now, Judge Faith steps in to bring this heated housing dispute to a close. With both sides firmly at odds, her decision aims to settle the conflict once and for all.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of Jones versus Stroud.
Thank you, Juan. Marty Jones?
Yes, ma'am.
You are suing the defendant, Charles Stroud,
Yes.
for $3,575 for the return of security deposits and rental truck fees?
Yes, ma'am.
And you are countersuing, sir, for $2,550 for unpaid rent and late fees?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just to sum it up in the beginning, you were living in St. Louis.
Yes.
With your, are you the fiance?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, with your fiance and 3 children.
Yes.
You saw an ad online for a home in Atlanta.
Yes.
And you were the owner of that home, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And you decided you wanted to relocate to the Atlanta area.
Yes.
So the two of you entered into a lease agreement, you moved to Atlanta, and then that's basically when things all fell apart, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so why don't we start from the beginning, and you tell me what happened when you saw this ad online and you decided to contact Mr. Stroud.
Okay, so I contacted Mr. Stroud on or about March the 8th. He told me yes, that it was available. He said there was a $40 application fee.
How much was he asking in rent?
The ad stated $1,000.
And the security deposit was how much?
The same.
Okay, when do you
$1,000.
say that amount changed?
Yes, when I spoke with him, he said that it was a misprint, that the person that put the ad online, left $300 off. I'm sorry.
So he was asking for $1,300 and a $1,300 security deposit?
Right.
Okay, did you agree to that?
Yes.
Okay, what happens next? Do you send him money?
Yes, I
Did you send him money before or after you signed a lease?
After.
And did you see the home? Did you ever go to Atlanta and see the home before you signed this lease?
No, we were in Atlanta a couple weeks prior, so I didn't have the funds to turn right back around and go back.
So you signed a lease and sent him money without ever physically seeing the home?
Yes.
And what do you say to that?
Not true.
You say she saw the home before she signed the lease?
Absolutely.
When?
She saw it at like the end of February, beginning of March.
Okay, and then she signed the lease?
Yes.
Do you have a copy of the lease?
Yes, I do.
Did you fax the lease to her in St. Louis?
Actually, one of my associates faxed over a copy of the lease.
Okay, but it was faxed to her in St. Louis. You didn't physically hand her the lease?
I did physically hand her a lease once she came. I had a pre-signed one from St. Louis, and I had one signed once she got here. That's the two that I guess that she's talking about.
Okay.
Because I let her know prior to her coming that she'll be signing one once she got to my home.
And what's the reason for having her sign 2 leases?
Because the first one, I think it was like a draft that my associate did because it was a basic.
Well, are you renting this home or is your associate renting this home?
I'm
Who's
renting
doing
the home,
this?
but I have people working for me.
Okay.
And one of my associates printed out one of those basic leases, and I let her know this is just to secure your home for you while you're in transition. She let me know that she needed this lease because she wanted to start sending me some mail. It was the exact same one, but it had the highlights of her pet situation. Because
So it was a different lease?
Yeah, it was just a little bit different based on the fact that she had pet.
So now we have this lease, you sign it. It does say security deposit of $1,000 here, and it says the lease will start on March 15th. And that the rent is $1,000. So did you sign another lease that stated $1,300?
I did, and he knew that I had dogs.
Okay,
Your
so
Honor.
we're gonna back up for a second. Because you just told me that the first lease, the second lease, the change on it was the issue with the pets. But you actually changed the amount of security deposit and the rent.
Because in the first lease, it was a basic computer generated lease.
But the computer just doesn't generate the price of rent or the security deposit.
No. That section was filled in again, and that was done by
your associate.
Yes, ma'am.
You know you are responsible for what your associates do, right? Because she thinks she's entering into a contract here, and she signs this lease, and it states it's $1,000, and that the security deposit is $1,000, and then the next thing you know, there's a second lease. How many days later?
Actually, it was about a month later, actually.
May I see the second lease?
Yes.
And not only does the rent change, but the security deposit changes. And then why are you shaking your head no?
That's not the case, Your Honor. When
I'm looking at the lease and it says $1,300.
Exactly, that was what the lease was for. The lease was for $1,300, and I let her know we was gonna do something temporary for her while she was moving. This is not the lease. She understood that, I understood that.
What's the point in doing that?
Are we talking about the first lease or
I'm talking about, you're telling me two different reasons. First, you said it was a mistake, that it was computer generated, that your associate printed this out. Now you're telling me that this was just something you wanted to have in place. Did we swear him in?
Yes,
okay, you swore you would tell the truth today? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to start doing that right now.
Faith Jenkins built her reputation through excellence and determination. After graduating first in her law school class, she became a tough New York City prosecutor and later a respected legal analyst on national television. Today, she presides over her own courtroom, where real cases are heard and her rulings are final. She is Judge Faith. Plaintiff Marty Jones says she and her family were forced out of their home after what she calls an unlawful eviction. She's suing her former landlord for the return of her security deposit and moving expenses. She appears in court today accompanied by Michael Barge. Defendant Charles Strode denies any improper eviction. He claims Marty violated the lease by bringing two aggressive dogs into property. He is countersuing for unpaid rent and late fees he says she still owes.
Did you ever sign this lease?
I signed the $1,300 one. The
Okay,
real
and
one.
you did too?
No, there's no signature page on there if you see.
Right, that's why I'm asking.
Coming up on Judge Faith, the court is asked to untangle a complicated rental agreement. Did the lease terms justify the eviction, or was the contract misunderstood? School. Plaintiff Marty Jones claims she was unlawfully removed from her home and deprived of her security deposit. She's suing to recover that deposit along with the cost of a rental truck she needed after move. Defendant Charles Strode disputes her claims. He says Marty lived in the property for 2 months without paying rent and still owes both back rent and late fees. He has filed a countersuit to recover the money he believes is due.
Lease is $1,300, rent, security deposit. You say she never sent you any money. You say you sent him $2,600, $1,300 for rent, $1,300 for a security deposit. Do you have proof of that? That should be something easy to prove.
I have my bank statement and the wire transfer from my account directly to his account.
Okay, sir, and is your testimony before I view this that you never received this money?
And
sir, I don't hear a verbal answer.
No, I never received this money.
Yeah, that's the wire transfer from my account to his. Yes.
Because one of the things you're suing over is this $2,600 you say you did not receive after you moved in and then left the home. We'll get to those reasons in a second. Let me review this evidence. Did you ever sign this lease? Did you all ever, both of you sign the lease? You never signed the lease?
I signed the $1,300 one. The real
and
one.
you did too?
No, there's no signature page on there if you see.
Right, that's why I'm asking.
He said that the signature page.
I don't know what happened to the signature page, but it was a signature page.
I'm sorry.
Let me just let you look at this.
He said the signature page would be mailed to my home in St. Louis on a later date, is why he said it was missing. Because I asked, I said, well, where's the signature page? He said, oh, well, I'll mail it to you back to St. Louis. Just initial the top.
She initialed on everything, on every page. I initialed, she initialed.
But there's no signature
and
page.
the signature page was also attached to this lease as well.
Well, you both agree that that's the lease agreement. So, although I'd like to see the signature page, since you both agree that that's it, it's fine. Now let's talk about these wire transfers, because I see here on 2 dates in March. When did you take possession of the home, ma'am?
I took possession April 1st.
And when do you say she took possession?
Like March 1st.
March 1st?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you say April 1st, you say March 1st.
Yes, ma'am.
And why is this lease dated March 15th?
Because that was when she came back. They came and they brought a few things. She left and went back to St. Louis, got this guy and other
So you
people.
gave her keys on what date?
Whoa.
The 1st.
On March 1st, you gave her the keys, and you're sure you're not confusing that with April 1st, because this lease states March 15th.
Right, I came back on the 15th, and that was when the dogs was.
Okay, so why is this lease dated after you say she moved in? If she moved in on March 1st, why would she have a lease? Do you agree with me that the lease will be signed prior to her moving in?
Due to the out-of-state circumstances and my circumstances, I was willing to work with her, and she was willing to work with me, and I was trying to explain that to you.
Was the lease signed prior to her moving in the home?
Yes and no.
The first one was.
And I have to explain that. Because as she said, they came up there, they were looking around, they were there for a few days, they came to see my home, she paid the application fee, she ran, once she was approved, that was when she had got, you know what I'm saying, the lease, which was like 3 days later.
What date was that?
That was like the 1st, because she came in, that was like February when they was down, and then so around the 1st, you know, that was when she was approved, and that was when she got the lease, and that was when, you know, the first one was done, but they left. You know, they went back to St. Louis to get her things. She wasn't there. So when she came back, she was supposed to bring me all of my money, the first month's rent and the rest of the security deposit, when she came back on the 15th, but that didn't happen. She called me up talking about, at first she said that she had a small dog. It was like a little something that goes in the bag. I don't know what happened to that dog. When I get to the house on the 15th, how the 15th come in the same day that she signed the lease, that was when they was trying to stop me. I had a shower head. I was like, well, let me go back here and change the shower head. I forgot to put it on. When I goes to the bathroom, I see 2 ferocious pit bulls up in there. At that point in time, I said, well, you already know what it is. She was having trouble giving me the deposit on the first little dog that never made it. Then, you know, they show up with 2 pit bulls. I said, no, that's it, you can't be in here. You already know.
You have a completely different story as to what happened.
Yes.
You move with your 3 kids, your fiance, to Atlanta.
dogs.
What happens when you get there?
Okay, we arrived there on April 1st. I have the budget rental truck for March 31st is when I got the truck to come down on April 1st.
Let me see that, please.
Yes, and I wouldn't drive a budget rental truck without my fiance. I wouldn't even travel without him because I have 3 small children, so I had to have somebody else to drive for me. We didn't get there until about 11 at night because I was 6 months pregnant, so my doctor had mentioned that I should stop every 2 hours to, you know, stand up, use the restroom and everything. So we didn't get down there till 11:30 at night.
And what happens when you get there?
When we get there, he wasn't there. So we waited. He pulls up in this big giant transformer truck with hydraulic lifts and loud bass, and it's midnight. You know, everybody's trying to sleep. He pulls up in this big giant truck, basically showing off, I thought.
Part of what she's talking about is partially true, but not true, because I did get there late, but I was just leaving the show. I broke a world record. You know, I built the tallest adjustable F350 in the world.
The what?
I built the tallest adjustable F350 in the world. I broke a world record building.
Okay, I understand you wanted me to see the photo. Let me take a look at it. Okay, that's the truck that you were driving. All right, and you broke a record.
Yes.
Duly noted.
Right.
Okay, all right. What do you want to say, sir?
We had a situation to where we wanted to get out of the house where we were in now before the 1st of the month to avoid paying additional fees.
Excuse me, Your Honor. I don't even know.
I understand.
I'm sorry.
I have not asked you a question.
I'm sorry, but this guy's talking.
No, you're going to be really sorry in a second if I have to dismiss you.
Coming up, changing accounts in court begin to expose a suspicious scheme. As details shift and contradictions emerge. Judge Faith looks closer at what may be a deceptive setup.
It's not our fault. You did not get here until April 1st. You told me repeatedly, I need you to stop talking because right now, from where I stand, every time your lips are moving, you're not telling me the truth.
Plaintiff Marty Jones says she paid a substantial amount to move into Charles Strode's rental property. She claimed she was later forced out and is now suing to recover her security deposit and moving costs. Defendant Charles Strode disputes her account. He says Marty never paid the full amount required and still owes rent and late charges. He has filed a countersuit to recover the balance he believes remains unpaid.
We had an agreement with our current landlord to let us out of our lease early so we wouldn't have to pay.
So you could get your things out, move them
Right.
down to the house, and then come back. That I understand. All right,
But
how
before-
does it end up that you're only there for 3 days?
Okay, when we left on the 4th, I think we put a bunch of our things in the garage. We had some things in the house. I started receiving calls from his associate saying that he wanted more money. I told her it wasn't in the original contract, that I wasn't gonna do that, and even if so, I couldn't afford to do that. So he then sent me a message saying I had 72 hours to get my things out of the house because there was a breach of contract because I had dogs he didn't know about. I have pictures of my dogs in the house. He knew that I had dogs.
I want to see all the text messages you
Okay.
have. I want to see all of them.
Okay, and for the record, Your Honor, I'm not the 914 number is not my only number, and
Okay.
that's not the only phone that I have, and other people that work for me send messages
That's
to
not true.
my
There's a
contacts.
different
So
number
this
on
may or
there.
may not be
Right, so
from
that's the
you,
reason why-
because
right.
this phone, your associates have access to
Yes,
this
ma'am.
phone
Well,
as
his
well.
associate has a different number. Her text messages are on there as well.
So your associate sends out this lease with the wrong information, and your associate has your phone and is sending out text messages that you may or may not be aware of.
Yes, right.
Got it.
On the 7th is when he said you have 72 hours to get your things. I then located the DeKalb County authorities and asked them, was this legal? They said no. They then contacted him. So when they contacted him, I guess it made him really mad. So that's when he sent the additional text and said, well, now you have 24 hours. I was trying to help, is
Did you
what
do
he
that?
sent.
Or one of your associates?
I don't even know what she's talking about, Your Honor.
Well, it's
She's
on the
talking
text
about
messages.
24 hours, 72 hours. I don't know nothing about that. All I know is when I got there and I saw that they had them big dogs off in my bathroom, and I had them, I got pretty Bella Wolf floors. I spared no
The
expense in
ferocious
this house.
dogs didn't attack him
Let me see
coming
the
into
dogs,
the bathroom.
please.
One's laid out, stretched. They're small.
There's a brown one over to
A
the
brown
right.
one over
Oh,
to the
and then I
right.
The
got
issue
pictures of-
is, did you have written permission to have those 2 dogs there?
There wasn't written permission.
Okay, that's
There
what the
was-
lease requires.
Right,
though.
but that was after I had given him the money and after I given him the keys.
Okay, but you knew that he didn't want the 2 dogs there when you moved in.
No.
You did not know that.
No.
You're saying
He
you
said-
didn't find out until
you know
after
what?
the fact.
I asked
Your
him,
Honor,
did he? I asked him
He knew that we had dogs.
because he had a
That's
dog
true.
in the
That's not
house.
true, Your Honor. She
He had a
called me
dog
with
and
a
he said it was
small
okay.
dog.
So here's
That's
what I'm
not
going to
true.
do. Do you have your bank statement from the month of March that will show you did not receive a wire transfer into your account?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
It was.
And then
Excuse
I'd
me.
like to see your phone actually.
Okay.
Excuse me.
There's a text message.
There's a text
I think
message
it's
on
more
my
than fair
phone.
for me to at least be
I
able
know
to.
he put a lot of effort into this
'Cause this
story.
is-
I want to see your phone. I don't want either one of you to say anything right now.
Oh.
This is the clincher for me. You say you have this associate. The associate tells them they signed a lease. It's not our fault. You did not get here until April 1st, 2014. You told
That
me
was when they
repeatedly,
moved
I
their
need you to
things.
stop
That was-
talking because right now, from where I stand, every time your lips are moving, you're not telling me the truth.
Coming up on Judge Faith, the moment a decision arrives. After weighing the testimony and evidence, Judge Faith delivers her ruling. And now, Judge Faith rules. School.
So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to recognize the first lease that you say this associate sent in error. And I'm not going to recognize the second lease that you had them to purportedly sign when they get to Atlanta, because you don't get to pull a bait and switch on people when they're signing a lease for property. You told them the rent was going to be one thing. You told them the security deposit was going to be one thing. There was nothing about pets in the first lease. That's what they signed. I know you testified that that was just a pre-lease, but I'm telling you, I don't find that to be credible. That first lease agreement I find to be binding, and they agreed to pay $1,000. They paid you $2,600. I credit her testimony on that. She has proof of that. I'm going to prorate the amount that you're going to refund them based on the 3 weeks that they actually had possession of the home, based on when the lease started, which was March 15th. I'm going to subtract $750 for those 3 weeks from the $1,000. That leaves $1,850 that they overpaid you that you're going to have to refund them. In addition, I am going to order you to refund them for the truck rentals, the 2 truck rentals. That's $904.10. And because I think your behavior was so egregious and you came into court and committed perjury and said you only received $500 when they proved to my satisfaction that they sent you $2,600, I'm going to order you to pay punitive damages in this case in the amount of $500. My total judgment in this case is for the plaintiffs in the amount of $3,254. Pay them the money.
If you or someone you know is facing a dispute, don't try to resolve alone. Bring your case to Judge Faith for a fair and final decision. TO, submit your story. Visit judgefaith.com, and we'll see you in court.